Very good evening, ma'am, and very good evening to all of you. I am Rhythm Chadha, and I'm very pleased to welcome you to this webinar, which is on the topic creative writing and how to teach creative writing, which has been presented by My Trusted Tutor. My Trusted Tutor is a marketplace for private tutors, school teachers, corporate trainers, academicians, educators, and all kinds of education professionals. The company mission is to provide quality education easily and affordable. Now I would like to introduce the guest speaker of the webinar, Mrs. Indrani Guha ma'am. She is an educator for almost over 25 years and currently the founder, principal of Credo World School. She is an educator for almost over 25 years and currently the founder principal of Credo World School Dahani. She started her journey as a leave vacancy teacher, but eventually evolved to become a principal after working in different educational sectors. Now I would like to invite Indrani ma'am to please take over the seminar and begin her presentation.
Thank you so much to the representative of My Trusted Tutor. And I've been coordinating with some of their people. So thank you for this fine introduction. And greetings to all the fellow teachers and educators who joined today. And we'll just, on that note of gratitude, that we are all set to make a difference. I thank you so much. So I just wanted to I'm very grateful that you have pulled out about an hour from your daily schedule and that too on a Sunday to share this moment with me and allow me to share my strategies and my learning over the years that I have gathered. Allow me to share it with you. Of course, I tweaked it a little bit to the present circumstances so that it helps each one of us in our own way to take our children forward. I just want to tell all of you, those who are attending, uh, please be a little interactive. Okay, I don't know if you've heard me. I want to thank everyone for taking time out to join today and for allowing me to take you through some of the strategies that I have picked up over the years. However, I have also kept in mind that times are a little different and the people and the children we deal with every year changes. And keeping that in mind, I've made certain changes also in my strategies, which I want to share with you today. So can we come back to the first slide, please? Yes, original slide. Yes. So this is my humble presentation to all the educators who have come online today. And today, the topic that I have chosen to share with you is everything to do with creative writing. And as we all know, as educators, we know education is not about a destination, it's about a journey. And the little bit of an introduction that was shared in the creative says that I'm a crafter. So I've chosen this imagery that is there on your first slide that it's visible to you. My attempt will be to pull out one string at a time from the mesh that is on your left-hand side. So on that note, I just wanted to start and I want to request each one of you to be very interactive. I'll keep an eye on the chat box so that your answers are something that I can respond to and I can take a look at. And then it will be a little more fun and more memorable. Very quickly, I want to ask each one of you, and while this, can we go to the second slide, which says creativity loading? Okay, so while the creativity is loading, ask each one of you, what is your concept of creativity? Let's not go by what the dictionary says. I want to know from you, what do you feel is creativity? Before we get into creative writing, I want to know, what is creativity according to you? A few words quickly. What is creativity? I'm sure there is a creative spark in each one of you. Okay, to be innovative. To be innovative, then what else? Thought process, excellent. Something that comes from within, definitely, definitely. Your perspective, thinking out of the box. It's always frightening to be sharing thoughts with educators because they know everything. We just try and put everything together and make it a little more chewable today. Okay, a new way. Lovely words. So we don't need the dictionary really thinking out of the box. That will do. So creativity is something that is thinking out of the box, something that is very internal, that has an imagination of the mind, something new, something imaginary. Okay. So a lot of good words that we have just got. And I also want to talk to you a little bit about the current pandemic. How do you think, or where is the relevance and where is the connection between creativity and the pandemic? The pandemic has hit us and we've been through it now for 8 to 10 months. How do you think and where do you think is the relevance or the connect between and the pandemic? I'll give you some cue questions to get you thinking. Is it impacting our creativity? Or is it because the pandemic is a very stressful time? So what do we do? I want, friends, I want you to think about it and give me a few answers very quickly so that we can move forward. The pandemic and creativity, where is the connect? Handling pandemic in a positive way. So you mean, so Ms. Farah says that creativity helps you to handle pandemic in a positive way. Thumbs up, that's so true. We'll come to that as we take you through as I take you through the presentation. Okay, any other thoughts? Try to be creative to make teaching interesting, definitely. And teachers have risen to the occasion by being very, very creative over this. Because of the pandemic, we are coming up with more creative ways of teaching. Yes, Ms. Divya, that's so true. Pandemic has made us realize that we are very creative, absolutely spot on. Adjust with the situation. Yes, so true. Utilizing the extra time we get at home. Okay, fair enough. So let's move forward on this note that pandemic has helped us. While the pandemic is very stressful, but it has helped us find that spark which is within us and find that creative expression that was hiding in us. We can express ourselves creatively, more scope for innovation. Thank you, Ms. Sushma. That's so true. So creativity now, let me tell you, and I'm sure you will agree as educators, creativity now is as important in education as literacy or numeracy that you've been teaching. You agree? Can I see a show of hands? Anyone? You agree, disagree? Agree, disagree? So today, creativity is as important in education as literacy or numeracy. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Chaya. That is so true that you raised a hand. Okay, so if we talk about creativity being so important, so maybe that's why our discussion today becomes that much more interesting and will become that much more relevant. And I hope after the 1 hour that you spend together discussing with me and the fellow educators, you won't feel that you have wasted 1 hour. Okay, so having spoken of that, let me remind you of some of the creative things that I've been watching people do during the pandemic. Have you seen people come up with a lot of social connectedness because of the pandemic? Because there was no other way out. The online medium was the only way that one could interact. So people were using a lot of creativity. So you saw a lot of people trying out new dishes. People were taking photographs and writing their thoughts. People went back to their childhood love for hobby and other things, and people were flaunting it in the social media for everyone else. Do you think creativity helped all of us deal with the stress? Because I saw Miss Rupa long back said, adjust with the situation. So I'll take that thought from Miss Rupa, who said, adjust with the situation. So the stress that came along with the pandemic, I think creativity, yes, it provided a diversion of the mind and it helped us go through the stress. So creativity has its own benefits. And again, let me tell you, friends, that I'm going to discuss this as we go forward. Now I'll take you back to something which is a little more cognitive that you are dealing with most of the time. And you have heard about Benjamin Bloom and how he speaks of the layers of the mind, the cognitive skills, and then he speaks about, rather when we talk about Bloom's taxonomy, we know about the different layers of the cognitive skills. If you see Bloom's taxonomy, you and I know that creativity is very high on the list. Okay, so if creativity is very high on the list, it is not something that everybody is able to exhibit and everybody is not able to go through. So do you think creativity is teachable? As educators, do you think creativity is teachable? Some answers, please. Okay, so yes, definitely people, all of you, many of you have felt so far that yes, it is teachable. How is it teachable? Tell me. How is it teachable? Anyone, anybody can answer. How is it teachable? By encouraging them, okay? Fair enough. Then, so remember my slide says creativity is loading. So when we talk about creativity loading, then we are actually talking about loading it onto the minds of our children also through activities, give them ideas, encourage them. So as per the educators who have joined online today to discuss today's topic, creativity is teachable. So let's see how creativity is teachable. Thank you so much for bringing me to this point by giving examples, enhancing their knowledge, providing a positive environment, hands-on activity, providing them situations. Actually, I don't think my trusted tutor should have had this session. Only all of you are robbing me of all my points. Okay, so can we go to the next slide, please? So what do we see here? What, according to you, is being creative is what we just discussed. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, I want to show you. I want you to identify. Can anyone identify picture A, picture B, and picture C? Or photograph A, photograph B, photograph C? And why do you think I have kept them here? Anyone? Let's quickly. Very quickly. No answers. Picture A, picture B, picture C. Anyone? Can you identify these people? Who are they? There are many creative people on this planet. But what about these people? Do you know them? Heard of them? Oh, I have no answers. No, 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 no. Some people are saying no. Okay. So just allow me to tell you a little bit about. Just a minute. Okay. So picture A is about a girl. Her name is, okay, women from different walks of life through Instagram. No, ma'am, different creativity. Fair enough. I'll give it to you. Picture A is, the girl's name is Srishti Dikshit. Srishti Dikshit. Have you heard of her? Okay, she's all over Instagram. I feel that she's a very, very creative person, and more because of her content. Yes, Ms. Shraddha, content creator. And somebody who can make you laugh and make you think with the content is a creative person, according to me. Fine, let's move to picture B. Picture B? Okay, picture B is of a lady called Dolly Jain. Dolly Jain is a very famous lady, actually, let me tell you. Somebody who has defined creativity in a different way, wherein she has taken something very ordinary and shown the world how differently it can be done. She has carved a niche for herself, and she is also a record holder. She claims that she can drape the sari in 325 different ways. So she's a draper, sari. Whoever thought that a sari draper could become a creative person? But there lies the creativity. Yes, she drapes the sari, and she says she can drape it for 325 different ways. Picture C is about a lady, a young girl. Her name is Karuna Izara, and she is married to somebody from Bengal, and she stays in Calcutta. And what she speaks about and talks about and writes about is generally something called school living. And she is heading an organization which is Beej with creative work and handmade stuff. I'm not able to remember the name of that organization. Sorry for that. But these three are not so heard of people, or maybe heard of, but they are creative in their own way. So there is a little bit of creativity in all of us. It is just waiting for us to sharpen it and give the right environment. They have worked on their own creativity, but you and I, being educators, we have to help our children go forth. Can we move to the next slide? Okay, I want all of you to look at this building and look at this picture or this photograph that has been taken. And can you try to define creativity? Again, I'm going back to defining creativity because I don't want to take the help of the dictionary or Google. I want you to define, but keep this building in mind. How would you metaphorically describe it? How would you define creativity? Let me get some quick answers. Anyway, there is no right, there is no wrong. Yellow and orange color showing the sun's rays, colorful, old buildings. Okay. So how will you say old buildings and creativity? So would creativity mean that taking something which is existing and giving it a transformation? Okay, color combination, old is gold, heritage, golden color. Okay, fair enough. Now, all that you have given me just now, let me put it into perspective. So windows are aligned, okay. So would creativity, now listen to me, folks, would creativity be very sensory because you have written about looking, you have written about seeing, you have written about color. So a lot of things you've written. So would there be a sensory aspect to it? Would creativity mean taking something ordinary and using words to change and give it a new dimension, new perspective, adding color to it, adding some sound to it? So can all of that be done using words? That is my question. Can creativity be sensory? Can creativity be sensory? Yes. Somebody said yes, Ishika. Miss Ishika said yes. So remember this phrase that sometimes yes, okay? Yes, of course. So please remember the sensory aspect. The more sensory your choice of words are, the more appeal it will have on people. So creativity is a lot to do with sensory appeal. Okay, so appeal has to be there. And what kind of appeal if we say? We talk about sensory appeal. So let's keep that in mind. Let's move to the next slide. Why should we discuss creativity? You have pulled out 1 hour of your time and chose to join me in this journey forward. So why should we be discussing? I'll give you a little, I'll give you say 2 minutes to read through the points which says 12 benefits of creativity, and then we'll have a quick discussion on it. You don't have to follow it in order. You can go back and forth. So the benefits of creativity. Can anyone tell me what is this kind of creative called? I have taken it from, of course, the net, and it is taken from Sylvia Duckworth's site, and she is very popular in this zone. And this is something that every school is discussing currently. What is this called? Can anyone tell me? What have I used to do this slide to express the 12 creative benefits of creativity? Visual note taking, okay, it's also called sketch noting, 2 words, whichever way you want to say it. Yes, visual note taking. Please remember that I'm going to come to visual note taking. More than mind mapping, it is visual note taking, it is sketch noting. So what we have done is sketch noting. I feel that all the points mentioned is the need of the hour. Thank you so much, Ms. Shraddha. I want now look at all the 12 points that are written here, and I want to pick up something, and I want any one of you to share a moment from the past 10 months that you have gone through. Can we see this? Creativity can link you to others with the same passion. Point number 8. Would anyone like to share or any of the point that you feel there is a connection with your life, or connection, we call it text to self. Is there a text to self connection? Any point that I have mentioned here? Do you think any of the point relates to you immediately, that you had a smile on your face thinking about it? No one? I feel that all the point, okay, creative is multidisciplinary, managing work and home, and also trying to be creative. Okay, fine. What about linking with others? I'm sure there are many who have joined food groups, craft groups, photograph groups or whatever, and are showing off your work. Anyone here in the group who's been doing this? Number 5. Let me see just very quickly. Creativity allows you to enter your happy zone and have fun. So true. We are happy to find someone having the same passion as us. Yes, ma'am, dance is my passion. During this lockdown process, I have collaborated with many dancers for online performances and performed solo as well. So all these points, lovely to see and read about it. Now, all these points are something that will come up very soon as we discuss creativity in writing. So remember all of these points. Now, let's move to the next slide. Think of a creative writer you like. Any names? Very quickly. Somebody you feel? A few names, 1 or 2 quickly, and then we'll move on. Creative writer. Anyone you like, who you find extremely creative? Okay, J.K. Rowling, Roald Dahl. Okay, fine. So we've got 2 names. So creative writers, we all have our favorite writers. We have our favorite writers, and we know what our favorite writers have given to us. We know the elements that are important. And so now we have to take that and give that kind of Ruskin Bond, of course, and give that kind of an environment to our children to begin to write creatively. Right. Next slide, please. Now, when we talk about, but why creative writing? So creative writing is one of the most enjoyable forms of writing. Children can create their own stories. They can create their own heroes, their villains, their little world, which is very different. Their world with the dog talking, with the cat talking, or with the witch being flying across the sky, across the horizon, or becoming invisible, or having, yes, also R.K. Narayanan, yes, of course. So creativity has its own benefits. The most important being it allows you to create your own world. So that is what we need to give to our children in the school, that we allow them to create their own world. Okay, next slide. So great writing starts with a simple sentence. You agree? Where do we begin from? The idea is to now know that we have to begin somewhere. When we have to begin somewhere, we have to know how to begin. And that is, it starts with a simple sentence. And let me tell you, educators, friends, and fellow teachers, start with something as simple as the parts of speech. Creativity can be handled at the basic level from primary classes, just by using the adjective and the adverbs. And I will tell you how gradually as we go forward. In this session that I'm doing, I've taken the points and there are prompts and there are a lot of strategies that I'm going to suggest. However, depending on the age group that you are handling in the school, you have to tone it down or take it a notch higher. and serve it to your children. Before we start discussing the prompts and all of it, let me very quickly tell you the kind of children you are handling. I hope you are aware that mostly you are dealing with Gen Z and Generation Alpha, and you should be knowing their characteristics. Can anyone tell me about the characteristics of these groups? Let's start with, say, Gen Z. So Generation Z or Gen Z, whichever way you want to say it, these are children who were born from 1997 to 2009. So they are in school, largely in the senior classes. The Generation Alpha started from 2010, and they are saying it is still 2024. So they are all right down up to nursery. So you are largely dealing with Generation Alpha and Gen Z. What are some of their characteristics, teachers and friends and educators? Okay, Miss. Someone said, Sonu Yadav said, you're a special educator. Okay. But you can always use my strategies. Alpha are inquisitive learners. Okay. Let me tell you, they are more personalized learners because they are very tech savvy. They know what they are reading. So they are always into they're comfortable in the technological world. So for them, learning is very personalized. Yes, they are good in imagination. So very quickly, allow me to share the Generation Alpha qualities with you so that it will help you understand how you need to tweak creative writing strategies right now. So they are social media dominant people. Alpha have a lot of curiosity, definitely. They don't play by the rules. They'll break all your rules. So they are not going to give you. So you need to tweak your rules and don't expect the traditional. You need to keep changing. They need constant cognitive stimulation, otherwise they will lose interest very fast. So which is why you need to think about a lot of visual aspect, because they're tech savvy people. Their world revolves around visual stimulants. Their ideas are largely, have you heard of words like FOMO, YOLO? Have you heard of these words? FOMO, fear of missing out; YOLO, you only live once. Has anyone heard these? Okay. Oh, yes. Many have. Many have. Thank you. Thank you. I thought, because I'm quite far away from these generations. I thought I was the only one learning it for the first time. Okay, Gen Z. Let me tell you about Gen Z. They are very, very tech savvy. As we all know, they are very competitive. They welcome change. They are very independent in their thinking, and they want to be heard. And like Generation Alpha, they also are very social media dominant people. So because of all these characteristic educators, you need to be able to change very quickly at all times. So keep this in mind as we go forward with our strategies. Next slide, please. So 10 ways to be creative. Very simple 10 ways. Try new things or think outside the box. See, whatever you have told me, it's already there. Stop planning, start doing. So there is a very nice saying which says, start where you are. So take more pictures. They are very visually active people. So they like visual stimulation. So take more pictures. Write a list. Listing is very, very important. Walk in the rain, get drenched, get the feeling, understand it, or meet the challenges the other way also metaphorically. Listen to music even if you can't sing. Stop trying to achieve perfection. Just go with the flow. Eat food. Food is emotion, so you need to eat well. Write letters to friends far away. These are different ways to be creative, but it says don't watch TV. So I don't know how much it is doable about the TV bit, but we are glued to social media, no doubt. So we have a lot of exposure to a lot of visual inputs. Next slide, please. Now, daily acts of creativity. How are we going to instill daily acts of creativity? Can anyone tell us, all those who have joined, you are adults, you must be practicing some daily acts of creativity, if I could read about it, a few, anyone who would want to share some of your daily acts of creativity? Let's see if I have people who are willing to allow us a peek into their lives. Your daily acts of creativity. You're all creative people. Creativity in cooking, okay, definitely. Calligraphy, do you practice every day? Calligraphy? Ms. Shravani, calligraphy every day? Do you devote a little time every day to it? Vocabulary, okay, vocabulary. So you be in touch with old friends. So are these your daily acts of creativity? I'm asking about daily acts of creativity. What is it that you are doing? I have a baby at home trying new tricks to manage her. Okay, fair enough. That's so true. But what happens when she grows up and then you have a lot of time? What will you do? So then, next, any other? Okay, so let's look at some of the daily acts of creativity that making different sounds while telling stories to kindergarten children. Definitely creativity in making people smile. Oh, that's nice. You remind me of Srishti Dikshit. I try to do new physical exercises. Fair enough. Because people are getting bored so easily. Innovation has to be the key. Creative to make my online class interesting. Yes, I hope today, after today, you'll add a few of my strategies and make me immortal through your strategies as well. Okay, so daily acts of creativity, start a visual thinking journal. Let's look at these points. Write for 10 minutes each day. If you read about all the successful people who are champions, they start the day with something called a 6-minute journal. Okay, many people do that. So write for 10 minutes each day, either at the end of the day or at the start of the day or at the middle of the day. And it helps you to reflect on how the day has been. Snap a photo of same time every day. That's very interesting. I know of a family, somebody close to me, who had taken the photo of her children on each of their birthdays. So every year, same day, same time, they would take that photo, and she recorded the whole thing. And it was quite interesting to see the changes that came about. Read for 10 minutes every day before you go to bed. At least read something. Spend time alone. This is called me time. Talk it out. If you have something, share it with others, like-minded people, so that you can enhance your creativity. Chunk a big project. So put it into bite-sized pieces and get started. So look at the bigger picture, but take small steps at a time. Chunk your learning. So put it into bite-sized pieces and every day learn a little bit. Sign up for a free course. Brainstorm 5 new ideas every day. Sign up for a free course. I know you've done it, so I don't have to ask you today. You have signed up for a free course. However, it's a one-day session. Brainstorm 5 new ideas every day. Anyone who wants to share any new idea that you suddenly, like a bulb, you had that aha moment and some new thought had come to you and you've tried it and it worked? Anyone who would want to share? A new idea, any new idea, which we could also take with us. Something that you tried for the first time. Anyone? So while somebody, I don't know if anyone is going to share, but while we talk about it, so educators and friends, please, my new friends and those who are educators who impact children, please keep these 10 points handy, share it with your children, make a little poster and tell them to do these things on a daily basis. I'm sure they will immediately do taking a photo every day. That is something very close to their heart. And maybe they could read for 10 minutes or they could do a visual thinking journal. Does anyone know? Okay, somebody's written, write a short story on a new picture you see. Yes, absolutely. I'll come to that also in my presentation. So educators, please do take a screenshot of this now and share it with your children. Daily acts of creativity are very important. Okay, next slide, please. So I want to do a quick interactive session. Find one solution that links the following. The first one is Gala, Granny Smith, Fuji, Pink Lady. What is it? What is common to all of them? Quickly. What is common to all of them? Gala, Granny Smith, Fuji, Pink Lady. Anyone? Quick. If I have friends from UAE, they should be faster. Anyone? Very quickly. No, I haven't got the right answer. I haven't got the right answer yet. Anyone? Gala, Granny Smith, Fuji, Pink Lady. No. So, Sonuji, no. Gyan Devi, no. Brands, no. Gala, Granny Smith. I don't want anyone to be Googling. No, sorry, Miss Rimpy, not cosmetics. No Sweetie Singh, no pop items. I'll give you the answer. These are all names of apples. Gala, Granny Smith, Fuji, Pink Lady, they are all apples. Okay? Now look at the next one. This is very common. Cannelloni, fusilli, vermicelli, tagliatelle, and tortellini. What are these? What's common to all of them? Pasta. True. I knew this, you would get it. Okay, pasta. That's so true. Next slide, please. Remember this slide. I'll come to it again. Now, this is another kind of an exercise. How many different ways can you use an umbrella? This is called listing. Listing is very easy to do and can be done with primary section. Listing is the first step to creative writing. Listing. How many different ways can you use an umbrella? Quick. How many different ways can you use? Okay, save water, then protect from heat, yes. How about playing hockey? I thought that was the first thing I was expecting. Okay, make a cement art, definitely, Miss Sunita. Walking stick, true. Self-protection, absolutely. Yes, then can be used during photo shoot. Yes, used as prop for dance, so true. Okay, how about trying to get something down from something which is very high up on the shelf and you can't reach it? Use an umbrella next time. Okay, so a lot of new ideas used for decoration. So now, why did I use these two slides? That is the apple slide and the umbrella slide. Okay, next slide, please. Now I'll tell you why. This, in the first step to creative writing, is divergent thinking and convergent thinking. When I asked you to use how many different ways you can use the umbrella, you are exploring possibilities. When you explore possibilities, it's called divergent thinking. And divergent thinking is very important to creative writing, to teach children creative writing. That's why you always start with a brainstorming. Why do we do what we do? We do a brainstorming because it enhances divergent thinking. After that, you do what is called convergent thinking. You use all of those points to come to a conclusion and use that in order to put it in your writing. So divergent thinking is very important to be able to come to a point and put it into sentences and to get off to writing creatively. So please, next time, educators, use divergent thinking and convergent thinking in an informed way in order to help their children write better. Anyone who wishes to ask me anything at this point, please don't hesitate. While we go to the next slide, please ask your question if you have to. Yes, next slide, please. Any questions? Before I go into strategies full on, I want, if there's any doubt, anyone, please feel free to ask me. Are we good to go? Can I see some messages? Are we good to go? I hope I've kept you awake. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sonuji. Okay, the basics of creative writing. We should not forget that the basis lies in language. It is as important as reading, as important as listening, and as important as speaking. if you remember the creative that went out and I was asked what will be the takeaways. So in the takeaway, I had said that there's also something called productive skills and receptive skills. So the creative writing is a productive skill. Unless you receive, you cannot produce. So you receive by listening. You receive by reading. When you hear reading, you receive. Those two are called as receptive skills, and speaking and writing are called productive skills. So for the basis of productive skill, if it is very strong, it will lead to a wonderful creative writing start. So creative writing will empower, and so it is worthy of learning. And creative writing, writers should know the genre of writing. That means whether you want to explore fictional writing, whether you want to explore descriptive writing, whether you want to explore persuasive writing, the person writing should know the differences. And that's where your input as educators will come in, to be able to help the children to understand where they are good at and what is close to their heart. Not everybody can write fictional writing. Not everyone can write persuasively. So you need to help them identify where they are good at. So writers should know the process of writing, including why it is important to spell and use grammar correctly. Many a times we, thanks to social media, grammar goes for a toss, spellings go for a toss, and we are okay with it. But it's not okay if you indulge in any kind of creative writing. You need to be very, very confident of the rules of grammar, and you need to be confident about the spelling. And this is something that you must inculcate in the children. Roald Dahl, Ruskin Bond wouldn't have been the same if they had written incorrect English, if they had written incorrect spellings. They wouldn't have reached where they have reached. So we need to be very, very very strict about that these things. You can be imaginatively, you can go anywhere. There is no restriction. That's creativity. You can be as innovative as you can. You can be as imaginative. You can be as crazy in your ideas. But the language has to be correct. The spellings have to be correct. The grammatical usage must be correct. Next slide, please. So now I'm coming to what is very important, that is role of teachers, the strategies to help students to find their latent creative expression. Can you suggest some, where do you think your role lies? One or two strategies can you share? Then I can, before I go on to the next slide. Anyone, teachers, I'm speaking to like-minded people who are all from the educational sector. So what strategies can you give to enhance creative expression? Very quickly, can I hear a few ideas, strategies? How can you bring out creative expression? Having an activity-based learning in the, okay, picture description, certainly. Visuals, yes. Picture reading, yes. Picture description, picture reading, same type, by giving them thinking questions, leading them with thinking questions, okay. Providing them with a set of good vocabulary, certainly. Okay, so that makes story making, yes, but allow the children, you can give the prompt, but let the children write. One situation can be given and tell them to give the end, yes, memory games. So we've got a lot of words and strategies. Now let's see what I put together. Food, speech, okay. Thoughts question, definitely. Audio, yes. So let's see what I put together, and maybe whatever came up in the chat box and what I have put together, you can take it home with you. Next slide, please. So teachers should keep in mind the following. So you must be excited. Okay, so if you have no, what do I say? If you have no energy and the enthusiasm, then children will not be the same. Look for ideas everywhere. So that is something. Do you do that, teachers, educators? Do you do that? When you see something, that light bulb, does it glow, saying that, yeah, I could use this. Yes. Next time when you are traveling to work, whenever your school opens up and you see something, click a photo. You are all using a smartphone. Take a photograph and use it. Okay, model creativity. This is something I do. I can see some of my teachers have logged in also. So I know I can say that in our school, we follow this as a strategy. I do, we do, you do. First is to model. That means I do it, the teacher does it. Then we do. That means together we'll come together and draft something. And then you let the child be on his or her own. So you do. Encourage divergent and then convergent thinking, which I just talked about, and I hope you remember that. Allow students to show off their work. Please be as excited to see their work as they are to show it off. Please, this is a request to all of you. Assess creatively, don't be judgmental. If somebody comes and tells you, I remember when we were doing Oliver Twist and somebody came and told me Fagin was a great man. So yes, it can happen. It can happen. Assess creatively. So don't be judgmental. They can write anything as long as it is supported by their thought process. Allow mistakes. Allow mistakes to happen so that you can correct them. Please don't ever think that they are going to be perfect, because you and I are not. Foster collaboration. Allow children to pair up, to be in groups and create something together. So that's collaboration. So in that case, what happens is the ones who are not so good enough get supported. It's like scaffolding, if you have heard. Ms. Shipra said at times. So what is at times? I'm not sure what you spoke about at times. Okay, get out of the classroom. You don't have to be in the classroom all the time. You can go and sit anywhere. Sit under the closest tree that is near your school, or just sit next to the security guard's room and watch people go by. And children can make a note in their own way and then come back and put it together to write something. Create a storyboard. So all that they found, let's say you take the children and let them stand near the school gate, or take something and sit there near the school gate for say 20 minutes, and you tell them to draw whatever they see, and you bring it back to the class and you put it up on your softboard and let them make a story out of it. I've taught in the garden. It's beautiful to sit there and teach. Absolutely. In our school, we do that a lot. They are everywhere. Okay, so next slide. Teachers, these are very important points for you. Right, use games, use puzzles, use mind map. Move from known to unknown, that is from concrete to abstract. If you tell the people of, say, okay, I'm in a place which is close to the sea. Now, if I'm going to tell them, visualize a field of daffodils, I don't think they're going to be able to do that. That's not, so that becomes an abstraction for them. So we need to move in whichever way from concrete to abstract. Build on what they already know. So build on the flowers that they know. Don't go start from daffodil and come to the periwinkle, which is growing by the side of your lawn. Okay, next one. Related to their immediate world. So that makes a lot. Then they can come up with a lot of words which are familiar to them. Make it sensory rich. If there is something to hear, something to smell, something to which is bright, so talk about colors, talk about sounds, then it becomes sensory rich and the writing automatically becomes better. Use storytelling. There is nothing that comes anywhere close to the success of storytelling. Share your own work. When was the last time you shared your creative writing with your children? Understand the process. Please don't judge them by the way you went through school. You need to understand their process. So I told you a little bit about Generation Alpha and Generation Z or Z, Gen Z. Read it up and you will know how they think, and you need to come to their level. And most importantly, listen. I'm sure you're doing that. So listen. If you don't listen, you can never make a dent into their mind and their heart. So the first thing is to have affect. If you listen, it's called affective teaching. You are able to connect to their heart. And when there is a connection that happens with the heart, it is for good and for long, and it will sustain. Okay, next slide. Anyone, any questions in the role of teachers? Now I'll come to engaging writing activities, which maybe you could use if you feel confident about my suggestions, then you could use them. This is a prompt. Life is not like a box of chocolates. So we have heard people say that. So you can say life is like a box of, and you continue, let the child continue. We could do a collaborative writing. You could pair them up. You could tell them to write on their own. It could be anything. Next one is no send letters. If you know you'll never send a letter to someone of your choice, what would you write on it? So let them write it, let them seal it, and let them keep it in their journals. So it could be any letter. So even if they write to their mother, their father, to Santa Claus, to anyone. So no send letters. So sometimes in social media, I see this prompt. If money was not a constraint, where would you like to travel? So something on that lines, I've chosen this. No send letters. So if you know you'll never send a letter to someone of your choice, what would you write on it? How writing to, say, Harry Potter? They all love Harry Potter. So they could write to him. Okay, raising voices. Teachers create character names, ages, and occupations and assigns one character to each student. They create a monologue for that character. So it could be any character of their choice. If it is the lower classes, you could take their cartoon characters. If it is from the older classes, then you could take anyone from, say, many of them follow YouTube now. Thanks to the pandemic, people are following a lot of YouTubers. Write to Chota Bheem. Yes, write to Chota Bheem. And maybe call him to come and help you out. The load of projects that teacher has given. It could be anything. Next slide, please. Mixing up metaphors. I don't know if you have heard about something called mixing up metaphors. There are a lot of these idioms and sayings that we keep hearing. And it would be a good idea to let them mix and match. So you take two metaphors and you tell them to mix it up. I'll give you an example. You know that sea of troubles, okay? So I'm at sea, or a sea of troubles that we see. And you can say, so to take arms against a sea of troubles. So I merged two metaphors. So similarly, you can give them a list of metaphors and tell them, go berserk, go crazy. But teachers, you need to be able to allow that craziness. Only then creativity will be seen. Let them make things, let them laugh at the craziness that they have found. Okay, so found poetry. So camera scavenger hunt around the campus. Nowadays, people are playing a lot of scavenger hunt. So you can do a scavenger hunt of signs, labels, notes, words, pictures. Compile them in the class and let them come up with a poetry or a collage or some taglines or some inspirational words, anything. Even children can be inspirational. Next slide. No, please go forward. Next slide. Yes. So you've reached, let's say this could be a prompt. You've reached your 1 millionth hit on your YouTube video. This is a world that they know. So what is the video all about? They could write about it. And in doing so, they can be as creative. You could tell them, add sensory details depending on which class they are in. I know in our school, young children, as you know, even in class 4 and 5 are making their own YouTube channels and flaunting their videos. So I'm sure it's happening. I'm from a very small town, so I'm sure it's happening in all the bigger cities as well. So are we aware of that, what our children are doing? So if you give them a prompt like this, I'm sure they are going to be able to write about it. Okay, if you were to write the story of your life until now, what would you title it and why? I also have it a little later. I'll ask you. A good story starts with a good beginning. Get us hooked in the first 150 words. So instead of 150 words, you could tell them, get us hooked in the first 20 words. So that could be the challenge. And children accept challenges very well. So you throw a challenge and let them get started. So write one invention. What one invention would you uninvent if you could, and why? Okay, so these were some of the prompts that I thought could get you started onto writing, encouraging children to write. One of my niece has YouTube channel. She's in 7th standard. Absolutely. Absolutely. So try asking her what would she write about if she had. Okay, coming to visual techniques, we spoke about visual note taking. We spoke about children being very visual in their thinking. So let visual techniques also inspire writing. Show, don't tell. What does this mean? Don't tell your audience something if you can make them see it. Use rich text or images. Allow me to give you an example, educators. So instead of saying that I walked through the lane, it was very cold, I was shivering, instead of saying that, how would you make it? How would you show it? You show it by saying, I walked through the lane, I walked over some fallen leaves which crushed under my feet, and I pulled up the hoodie to cover myself and protect myself. So you automatically are trying to give an impression of a cold night or a cold evening. So that's what I mean. This is what you need to teach your children. Show, don't tell. So you could keep a screenshot of this and utilize these things in the classroom. Allow your children to show, not tell. Leave it to the reader to interpret in their own way. Okay, so remember first impressions. It's always the human brain is programmed to make quick impressions followed by fast decisions. So make the first impression on one that sticks for the best reasons. Like I said, you tell them in the first 20 words, you need to hook me. Make it move. This doesn't necessarily mean that you take a video animation. You can take a photograph and also make it dynamic. So let's see how. Next slide. And use those photographs as prompts. I've used two of these photographs in my class 9 and 10 writing. These are powerful images and can compel you to write. They could talk about a message. They could talk about what they see. They could talk about how they feel looking at it. Because I thought these are very powerful movies, photographs which are taken from social media. And I'm sure they're available even on Google Images. This is from Shutterstock, but the other two are taken from social media. Somebody had posted. Okay, so you can write a tale of the human touch. So these are visual inputs, visual prompts. Next slide. Of course, you build an arc, you tell the children there has to be a beginning, there has to be a rising action, there has to be a climax, there has to be a falling action, and there has to be a result. So this is the arc of any story writing. If they are writing a story, it's always nice to see all of these actions visible through the writing. So this is also something that you need to teach your children. Conflict. There has to be a conflict, otherwise there is no interest. If you don't have a conflict, there cannot be a rising action, there cannot be a climax, and there cannot be a resolution. So conflict is something that is also that you need to teach your children. Conflict is very common in our lives, so you can take from real life as well. Next slide. Okay, teaching a valuable lesson. If you tell your children that try and give a message, so some of the writing could be where they give a message. So like one of those photographs where the children were putting Band-Aid on this dog, that could have a valuable lesson. Most effective images. So these images become your masalas for the visual story, and they will complement the flow of the words. Hold their focus. Don't get lost in providing too much of details. So tell them that sometimes they can be concise also, and they can yet be, I'm sure all of you are on Instagram. There is a group which where they put out these stories which are called Terribly Tiny Tales. I'm sure you would have heard. So they have a story in very few lines. And how are they doing it if they are not using so many details? It's very interesting. Maybe if you have the time, get into Instagram and check out some of their stories. It's called Terribly Tiny Tales. Very easy to remember, TTT. Okay, and remember the Hitchcock rule. This is a celebrated cinematic philosophy from the great man. Hitchcock rule states that the size of any object in your frame should be proportional to its importance in the story. So you need to know how much of importance, if you're writing about Chota Bheem, and if he's the hero, then while the name is Chota Bheem's importance remains unparalleled because he becomes the protagonist of the story. Okay, next slide. I request you to keep screenshots so that will help you. When you are doing visible thinking and using visual prompts, then allow them to go through these four phases. First, tell the children to observe. So if you had seen those visuals which I had put up, the children sitting with the dog and putting whole lot of band-aids while they don't have money to eat. So you observe the picture, then you list the words, then you link where is the connect. So is there a text to self connect, text to world, or a text to text, whatever connect you can make. And then you explore the questions that come to mind, thinking, and then converge to write. Converge your points to write. I know I may be going a little fast, but if there's anything that you wish to ask, please ask me. Next slide. We'll use these four lists. Observe. If I were to show you this beautiful photograph, which is taken from the rainforests of Amazon, if I ask you to observe, you can observe whatever the luxurious greenery you can. So you observe, then you link and get them to a point where they want to write about it. You could also put some characters. So, okay, there is, say, Hari, the alligator there, or some anaconda is there. So you are connecting, interdisciplinary connection also can happen. So make it a little lively and it will become a visual prompt for them to write. Next slide. Okay, this is something that I encourage a lot of my teachers and my students, that during the pandemic, what you should do is journal. If you remember Anne Frank, her writing, she was just writing in her diary, which eventually became, this is just an image taken for the purpose of this presentation. But journal is something that you can all keep. Yes, Miss Ishika, you can relate this picture to Kerala's backwaters also. Yes, you can. So you never know. I was telling my senior children that they should write, and I was encouraging them to write their journal because those become first-hand information about the pandemic. And in future, when the years roll by, maybe these first-hand information will come very handy for whatever reason, I know not. Please encourage your children to journal. And if you remember what Anne Frank said, that diary is more patient, paper is more patient than people, so they can write anything. Okay. Next slide. Some more prompts that you, while they are journaling, you on the pandemic, you could tell them some of these points and get them to write how the virus has disturbed your life, daily life. What are you missing? Are you missing school, sports, competitions, field trips, all the vacation plans, etc.? How has it affected your mental and emotional health? What changes, big or small, are you noticing in the world around you? How about the new normal, Zoom weddings, Zoom parties, birthday parties, etc.? What do you want your parents to know about what it is like to write during the pandemic? Because we must remember that the pandemic has hit our children as well. They've been locked up, but they have no place to express themselves. So they need to write and keep a record of whatever so that they feel better. Next slide. Personal narratives is very important, where you can write about a particular moment and that moment, how difficult it has been, or how funny it has been, or crazy it has been during the pandemic. So this is something that I thought would make sense, because we are going through the pandemic, and how we can use the pandemic to as an opportunity for our children to become more creative. Because I do understand that writing has taken a backseat this year because children are not coming to school and there's not adequate encouragement at home to write. So you should, teachers, as much as you can, encourage them to write personal narratives, which they can put in their journals as well, or send it to you. And you can have it, they can share it in the classroom as well. Right. Next slide. Poetry writing. So you could, many children are into poetry writing. So it's a very easy way to, for many to describe themselves. Please allow them to describe in any genre I said. So poetry is also something that children can, maybe this visual can be your pandemic and you're trying to push it away. So what do you feel? Whatever, the imagination can just, there's no limit to it. So we've spoken about journaling, we've spoken about personal narrative, we've spoken about poetry. Next slide. So if you had a setup, can this inspire you to write? So you're looking at, locked up inside, you're looking outside, you are connected with people on the screen. Would that become an inspiration for you to write? So it could be, you could write a poetry, you could write about conflict, you could write a personal narrative, or you could just write about it in your journal. Okay, next slide. Now, this is something also can be a visual interpretation that the children can try and match it with their lives and see if there is a connect. So is there a reflective writing that can happen, that you are caught in between all of these massive, like knotted up yarn, and it's you are suspended and you don't know how to come out of it. So these things also can become prompts for children to write, especially now. So they could talk about the conflict. And what happens is when they write about the conflict, there's a purgation happening. So they feel better after it. And I hope you know that everywhere we are discussing social emotional learning plan as well, because children's social emotional learning is also our responsibility. So we need to help them feel better. So these are all wellness strategies as well. Okay, next slide. This is something every child now knows, and which is called memes. So use memes to bring out a lot of creative aspect. So I have taken this photograph of Julie Andrews and I got it in the net, and I thought it is most appropriate to explain to you how to utilize it. So it's a photograph which everyone has seen, but you use something else to describe it. So should I use a simile or a metaphor? And how well the writing goes with the expression in the photograph. So use a lot of memes. So I'll show you a meme in the next one, and I want any of you to just share what comes to mind. Next slide. Can you give me a write-up for this? Can you just very quickly give me anything that matches this expression? Anyone? Be funny, be crazy, be inspirational, be whatever. This is how I feel when I'm not going to the party by my younger sister, but my younger sisters. When will we get the vaccine? Okay, stubborn to get something. When will I get rid of my pens? That's so true. Okay, so it could also be that this is how I feel when the day when ma'am is organizing a Zoom party and I'm not able, there's no network in the house. When I don't get chocolates, fair enough. So use it as much as you can and you will see instantly they will connect with you. Memes are something their life is revolving around. Yes, want to go out, but I can't. Vaccine is not out yet. Madhuri, so true. Yes, next one, next slide. Use photographs, and this is something we have done in our school. Yeah, want to go to school as well. Sunita says that want to go to school. Okay, so use a theme and tell them to write their own inspirational, make their own inspirational poster. So we got our children to do it. They wrote their own inspirational tagline, and we checked it out for plagiarism. And so it had to be their original writing. So we did a lot of it. So they took their selfies because they love taking selfies, and they had to write something interesting. So you could try doing that. So that will be very creatively encouraging. Yes, next slide. Imaginative stretch. Now these people are stuck in traffic. Now the trains are not running. There's a lot of traffic on the road. All these people are stuck in traffic. You think your children can make some speech bubbles and write whatever they have to So this is also a good way of encouraging them to think of crazy things. Start with what is crazy and funny, then they will be able to relate better. Okay, next slide. This is very close to my heart, and I have shared it with my senior children. So if you look back at your own life, this year, 2020, there are some small changes that have happened in your life, and there are some massive changes that have happened. So how about encouraging the children to write about the small changes and also the massive changes? And I'm sure they are going to be able to write about it. Please don't ask them how the pandemic has been. It hasn't been good for them. But the same answer, if you want to extract from them, maybe you could give them prompts like, give us 10 small changes that happened in your family or in you that you have noticed. And what's the massive change? There could be death in the family. There could be anything for that matter. So all those things they can write about. Right, next slide. You could ask them to describe a conflict. This is you, and that's the conflict. So what they could think of is, what's the conflict right now? Your thoughts. It could be, should we take the vaccine? Should we not take the vaccine? Will school open? Will school not open? When will school not open? When will it open? Yesterday, a child asked me, I'm the principal of a school. So a child from my school sent to me, and I wish I can show you. She has written to me saying, Ma'am, I want to ask you something. When will school open? So simple question, but I have no answer. So that's a conflict. They don't know. We don't know when it will open. So you could ask them to write about a conflict. Yes. Next slide. Look at this photograph. What do you observe and can you describe it? Let the children describe it in any way. You could start with divergent thinking and then convergent. So first they can just list out all the things that they can see. They can emotion to it also if they have to, and then write about it. Divergent thinking. I think it's a very beautiful prompt. Okay, next one. Now I'm coming to the older kids. They could be asked, like, think metaphorically. Now this image, very simple. By photography standards, very poor image, but is one person standing apart by choice? Is this a scene of someone being ostracized? What can this? So can we talk about social messages like discrimination? Can we talk about social messages like bullying? Bullying is very rampant everywhere, so we could talk about it. And they can be just put onto the track and children can write. They could talk about a personal experience. They could talk about in general. So this could be a metaphorical prompt. Write a story in which the protagonist, which is you, uses one of to deal with a conflict. Long time back, someone from the group said use the umbrella for protection. So maybe that could be a part of the story. 5 visual prompts also children can write about a story, and then you could give them to a point where you can ensure that they all come to the same message which is being shared. Maybe safety while traveling or something. You could use movies to inspire. I'm sure you would have seen some of these movies. I can't write everything, so I've just taken some of them very important ones. Dead Poets Society, The Help, Midnight in Paris. Please watch these movies if you haven't. Help is particularly very nice and very moving story. Also a Dead Poets Society teacher. And how he transforms the children, students, and inspires them to write. Take a screenshot of this if you want. Okay, next slide. You could take some little parts of movies and show them and use that as a visual prompt to write. Your autobiography, what would be its title? I just want to ask, very curious to know. Anyone who wants to tell me your autobiography? 1 or 2, I don't want everyone to be thinking. Anyone who wishes to share? What were darkness to light? Okay, that's so lovely. Then think about it. I think it's very interesting. We've never thought about it. What child's creativity? Okay. Are you going to name your autobiography Child's Creativity? No, no regrets. Okay. My dream world. Okay. Nice, interesting. So think about it. Another thing could be if you were to tattoo on your arm, maybe a few words, what would it be? That also you could ask yourself. Okay, next slide. My childhood, right? So in conclusion, because I've already overstepped the time, so in conclusion, allow me to tell you that art is important and life-giving. Yes, Ms. Nisha, early age mother to successful educator, lovely. Okay, creative writing is a contemplative art that requires attention, curiosity, and love. We need a deep, reliable connection to our creative spirit to make art that heals, delights, and teaches. We connect to our creative spirit with more pleasure and ease when we focus together. And all of these are our responsibilities so that we get them started onto the right track so that they are able to creatively discover their latent talent and their ability to voice themselves through their creative writing. And that becomes our sole responsibility. And the last slide. I have been dabbling with some watercolor, but I am not an artist myself. So I chose this image of something that I love. So creative writing is, I want you to take this image with you. And I want somebody to tell me what does DFTBA stand for. So I said DFTBA. Let me see if you know it. Otherwise, I'll give it to you. Okay, that's the message. DFTBA. Don't forget to be awesome. Educators have risen to the occasion. Yes, Ms. Shraddha, don't forget to be awesome. So on that note, I conclude my presentation.